My friends, look at this clip. This comes from Gremina forests. Let's go to Gremina, which was the biggest area of Russian push, the big push as they called it. They massed about 150,000 troops into this small area to conduct another large-scale offensive operations like they did at the beginning days of the war. And it failed miserably because they didn't move at all. Well, at the beginning days they did, and then Ukraine recaptured the areas and boom, nothing. So this failure results in such videos. Russians using fireworks in Gremina forest. This is the Gremina forest. And of course, this is not fireworks. You know what it is. It's not fireworks, but I'm gonna say it is. Now this fireworks burns very slow at a very high heat, almost impossible to extinguish. And bombarding civilian villages with these fireworks is a war crime, which the Russians have done, and I've reported it. Although it looks pretty and nice, it's incredibly dangerous and sad and cynical of Russians because they moan and bitch about everything the West is giving to Ukraine, and the Russians themselves at the same time using this fireworks on Ukrainian troops. Now, my friends, let's go to the Ukrainian Black Sea coast. Well, this is the Snake Island Belia, as it is saying Kirillus right here. Well, off the Snake Island on the coast of the Black Sea, Russians occupied these Boiko towers. These are sea rigs, drilling rigs on the sea, drilling towers on the sea. The Russians occupied since 2015, and they are very important positions, like was the Snake Island for the Russian Navy, because it was supposed to be the landing ground. It was supposed to be the forward operating station for their amphibious landing on Odessa, which of course didn't work out. Well, now Ukrainian Ministry of Defense has published a video of Ukrainian GUR, the Ministry of Defense intelligence arm, capturing these Boiko towers. It was a true special forces operation. I remember covering it about half a month ago. You know this video when they sailed right onto the towers and the Russian jet came above and they shot the jet? It is an insane battle and we're going to watch the video together. Let's go, my friends. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to Kiev and you guys have bought 3 trucks. You guys donated 50,000 United States dollars, which we will use to buy 3 trucks for Ukrainian Special Forces units. One of the units will be from GUR, the intelligence arm of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. We will meet the guys. During one of the combat assignments, Russian fighter Su-30 finally managed to find our fighters on boats in the open sea. I remember seeing drone footage. You see the 3 boats down there, and the Russian jet was flying above, and the boat shot a manpad up to the jet, and they hit the jet, damaging it enough for the jet to exit the battlefield. It was a huge victory for Ukraine, and now we know they actually captured the Boiko towers. Battle ensued. These are the towers. They're shooting the jet right now. So they're shooting the jet. It's up there. I mean, small arms fire probably ain't gonna hit it. It's almost impossible to hit it with small arms fire. But if you do hit, it's going to damage the jet, but it's like impossible, honestly. All 3 boats were hitting the jet, and one of them used the manpad to shoot at the jet. And they hit it, and it had to exit, and then they took the Boiko towers. They're also using their 50 cal. Can you see the jet? I know the jet was using their, I think it was 20mm cannon they have on the Russian Su-30 on the nose, and you could see from the drone that these bullets landed right next to the boats, but they didn't hit the boats. So, I mean, the Ukrainian Special Forces here are at a very vulnerable position. There's a jet above, they have a rubber boat which can be hit very easily. They're in the middle of the sea, next to Boiko towers which are occupied by the Russian forces. So it's a very vulnerable, dangerous situation. And they came out victoriously. That is insane. You can see it. The Russian plane is trying to hit the boats with guns and missiles. Our fighters fire from all available weapons. You can hear choo-choo-choo, it comes in very close. There's a 50 cal mounted on the top, on the front. There's a whole squad of GUR fighters on this boat, and there's 3 boats, and training these fighters takes years. We met those guys last time we were in Kiev. We're gonna meet them again. They're amazing guys. I'm gonna make a video about it. We're gonna give truck to them. So they're gonna give something back, you will see. They're making circles, avoiding the missiles. Finally, the enemy plane is hit with manpads. Boom, there he goes. There she goes, you can see it. I remember covering that. That is insane. And I know the jet didn't fall down, it got damaged and it exited the battlefield. They see it. Damaged, it quickly flees from the battlefield, and they go on to the Boiko towers, recapturing them for Ukraine. Another huge loss for the Russian Black Sea Fleet. I hit the SU, it began smoking. My friends, last time I was in Kiev, these guys gave us weapons training. Of course, none of the faces are seen, none of the faces you can see here. I can tell these guys, but you don't gotta know their names or faces, so I'm not giving away anything. Next time we're gonna go to Kiev, they're gonna do it again for us. This time, I'm gonna give a card to them and they're gonna give us sniper rifle training also, which is incredibly awesome, and you will see it in my video when I return from Kiev. If you wanna see all of those cool things we do in Kiev with the special forces actually, and there are some surprises with this trip that has never happened before, and I cannot film it because it's like forbidden. Then you gotta watch the video when I get back. Also, the night vision video link is in the description below, which you can see on the screen also. You can see how these guys trained us to shoot with their personal weapons. My friends, a passenger plane in Russia had to do an emergency landing. It almost crashed, but it actually landed on the field. The passenger and crew, I can assume they're fine because the plane landed nicely, and you can see it right here stationed on the ground. The engine was on fire, it has been extinguished, and I hope it was a happy accident. But there's a sinister backstory to it, and first of all, I'll read you some text. 2022, when the war started, the West immediately sanctioned Russia, and this mostly, the first included airlines. Most of the Russian jets at the time were leased from the West. This was an Airbus plane, which is French. It's leased from the French and used by Russian airlines. Russia didn't give those planes back when the sanctions hit. They stole them, they registered them, re-registered them to Russian airlines. But the dark story of it is they cannot maintain them because the software is not updated, because the West don't share it anymore, and the spare parts, which with passenger planes which are used, has to be changed regularly. These spare parts stopped coming in from the West. Now, 1.5 years later, these planes are beginning to show it. Over 1 or 2 weeks, we see passenger planes having some issues, malfunctioning, and it's really dangerous for Russian people. I will read it to you. One of the airliners stolen by the Russian landed today in a field near village of Ubinskoye, 200 kilometers from Novosibirsk, due to failure of the hydraulic systems. On board the plane flying from Sochi to Omsk were 159 passengers and 6 crew members who will be taken further by buses. This Airbus, sorry, it's funny. They came from the Airbus to go to the regular bus. This Airbus A320 was owned by the Irish leasing company Axar until March 2022 and has the number of VPBMW, but was illegally re-registered to the Russian airline Ural Airlines as RA73805. Russian airlines continue to fly these stolen planes from the West, which they stole due to sanctions, and they were supposed to give them back. They never did. These planes are not maintained properly, and they carry passengers. So it's a matter of time, 1.5 years later, when the software and the hardware, the spare parts stop coming, these planes will start falling off the sky. It sounds sinister when I say it like that, and it sounds over dramatic, but this is the truth. You need to maintain the hell out of planes. NATO air forces know it and they live by it. Western airliners know it, they do it. Russians don't. Even the military doesn't. That's why we see Russian jets falling out of the sky. And it's going to be a huge issue in Russia. I remember reporting that a year ago, that it's going to be the future. And some people were saying, you're over dramatic. Well, it's here. It's happening. And it's going to happen on a grander scale in the future. My friends, now we'll go to Donetsk. And if you are from America, from the United States, get ready to be triggered. Get ready to be personally wounded, because this is cynical. Yesterday was 9/11, a tragedy for Americans. We zoom into New York. New York is a Ukrainian village in the Donetsk area near Kharlivka. Every 9/11th of September since 2015, Russians have cynically bombarded this settlement only because of the name of it. It doesn't have any military value. It's only civilians in the settlement, but they bombard it because it's called New York. There you go, that's the Russian mindset. So if you're living in New York, in Ukraine, you're being bombarded, just because of the name. There you go, my American friends. Perhaps you understand the Russian cynical mindset a little bit better now. My friends, many of you have commented that Ukrainian forces could use cluster munitions, US supplied cluster munitions, to demine these heavily mined Russian fields. By dropping cluster munitions on these mined areas, and these small explosives will trigger the bigger mines to explode, therefore clearing the area. There's a huge debate on this, and it's a good idea. I read these comments and I think about why don't the Ukrainian forces do it? Well, now there's an official report out. Russian troops actually have stated that Ukrainian cluster munitions do work for demining purposes if they're shot close enough to each other. Meaning if you shoot enough cluster munitions into a concentrated area, they will clear this area of mines. Well, of course, cluster munitions themselves have a dodge rate of some percentage, meaning the cluster explosives don't explode and they will leave the ground being mines themselves, but on a much smaller scale than like anti-tank and anti-personnel mines. They can be used like that, but since Ukraine doesn't have that many of these cluster munitions, they do use them mainly on Russian troops and soft targets. And I have to use the word, they don't waste them on the mined areas, because, I mean, US has a lot of the munitions, but they haven't sent so many to Ukraine. So unless US sends tons of cluster munitions to Ukraine, Ukraine cannot use them for demining purposes since they are needed elsewhere. They have higher priorities. My friends, we haven't seen videos long enough where Ukrainians capture Russian equipment. I remember only doing videos about captured equipment back when Izium was recaptured. I mean, 350 to 400 armored vehicles captured from the Russian army in a span of a week. That is insane, but now we only have every now and then one video. Here is one of those where Russian T-90 is captured, the newest and the best Russian tank, because T-14 Armata doesn't exist, as I mention every time. Commander, good morning. The T-90M breakthrough is ours. Only some pieces of... only some pieces left inside. In short, tank is from near Robotyne. It's already ours, but it requires a bit of... For our subscribers, who needs cigarettes? Message us. I mean, Ukrainian cigarettes are pretty good. When I'm in Kiev, I allow myself to sneak the occasional cigarette. But I've smoked Russian cigarettes. I mean, they're not the best. I don't know why. That's just personal. I don't like them as much. Subscribe and like. So it requires a bit of repair, of course. We had to hit it a bit, but it's already ours. Show them. Oh, no, I cannot show that. Show them. They want to show us arms and legs. I cannot show that. No. A Russian propagandist in Donetsk area has been sent to sleep with the fishes, has been knocked out cold, has been liquidated. Now, the Russian Ministry of Defense wrote an obituary, and they wrote, humanitarian, animal lover, pillar of society, Gennady Dubovoy has been eliminated in Donetsk, and the Russian media report that he was hit with a car several times, so it was not an accident. But look at the face of this guy. So let's look at the face of this animal lover. Oh, this guy definitely loves animals. You can see it in his eyes, how he loves them, loves to cuddle with them, until there's no way in hell this guy is an animal lover and a pillar of society. The pillar of Russian society, perhaps. My friends, it finally happened. There has been many speculations, but now yesterday it was confirmed. The North Korean leader Kim Jongun has arrived in Russia. They only announced it one day before, and now he's already in a train driving through the Amur region of Russia. Now I can only imagine how fun or how weird or clunky it must have been for him to go to Russia, because physically the railway goes to the Friendship Bridge, which is over the river, North Korea to Russia, and then the bridge goes straight to the ground. Nothing there, no connections to Russian railway. They have to use a boat or a chopper or something, or boat to get over the river and then sit onto the Russian train and then continue from there. So it's a clunky process. Of course, nothing wrong with it, but it looks funny a bit. Kim Jong is going to meet Vladimir Putin, and Kim Jong is incredibly happy because Putin needs his ammunition. Kim Jong has Soviet ammunition, Soviet small arms fire and artillery rounds. They even could send Kalashnikovs if necessary. So Kim Jong has something a foreign country needs, which is very rare because North Korea has nothing. Everything they have is thanks to China. And if North Korea decides to send any large-scale military aid to Russia, it is as China would be sending it directly. So China doesn't need to directly send military aid to Russia because the West doesn't like it. They can do it through North Korea if they want to. And everybody will blame North Korea. My friends, there has been a lot of speculation, about 1 year of speculations. When will the United States send a long-range attack MS to Ukraine? And they still haven't done it. It's weird in a sense that Ukraine already has long-range weapons from the West, Storm Shadow and Scalp, which are respectively British and French developments. The Germans haven't been able to, or don't want to send their Taurus missile, which is similar to Storm Shadow, but a German version. The Germans have said that they will send it if United States send their attack MS long range. Germans are very much connected to the United States decisions, much like the tanks sending to Ukraine. Why doesn't the US want to send these capabilities? Especially that Ukraine already has these Western capabilities. It wouldn't be a red line. Well, one of the issues might be that the United States has a lot of these long-range attack MS missiles. Some of them are old enough to be decommissioned. And these soon-to-be decommissioned missiles have old rocket engines that have the risk of exploding in the barrel of the shooting device. So they could be faulty, so sending them could be risky. That might be one of the issues. I'm not saying that's the only one. Another one would be that these attack MS missiles could be shot down by Russian air defense systems. I mean, could be shot down by S-300 or S-400. Now, that's definitely not the reason that the United States is afraid of that, but it would be a political victory for Russia if these missiles could be shot down or would be shot down. Russia would definitely use this for internal propaganda. Perhaps the US doesn't want that. Another small reason. A huge plus for these attack MS is because Storm Shadow and Scalp can only be fired from planes. And Russian frontal areas immediately know where Ukrainian planes are lifting off, so they know something is up above and something might be coming. They can get ready. With attack MS, they shoot them from the ground, and the missiles are so fast, Russian air defense systems wouldn't have time to react. So they do have pluses. It doesn't matter that Ukraine already has Storm Shadow. Attack MS gives another kind of capability that Ukraine doesn't have still. So it would make a lot of sense to send them. Ukraine heavily needs them, but the United States is, they don't want to send them. And these are the two minor reasons I just listed for you. If you know why Joe Biden is so hesitant on that, just put it in the comments, because for me, it's push the button, man, send them already. Ukraine needs them and do it. My friends, I have reported on Kadyrov several times. I've reported that he's a drug addict, and that's only a rumor. But now a report came in from Chechnya. Actually, I'll read you the whole thing. You won't believe your ears. From the morning of September 6th to the morning of September 7th, Ramzan Kadyrov, being under the strong influence of narcotic substances, was out for a whole day. Waking up in the early morning of September 7th, Kadyrov, telling the guards not to go with him, went for a walk in his pajamas. So drugged, swollen face Kadyrov, the dictator of Chechnya, strong man of Russia with the biggest private military army, is wearing his pajamas going out while being hazed on opioids. From the residence itself to the mayor's office of Grozny, that is a sight. It is unclear why Kadyrov was going there and what was in his head, but soon his entourage came to him, to whom the FSB gave the order. Kadyrov was taken away and taken back to the residence, after which the FSB, having reported the incident to Putin, received an order from him to urgently take Kadyrov to Moscow for treatment. So Putin is like, Kadyrov is drugged again. Oh my god, he gotta go to rehab right now. Take him to rehab. Kadyrov was sent by plane to Moscow that evening, where he is forced to undergo again treatment for drug addiction. Holy hell, man. That is the strong man. That is the biggest private military army leader. It's Kadyrov. And he's a drug addict. He's going through treatment. Fish rots from the head. It's weird. It's a funny story. Well, I feel bad that Kadyrov doesn't have the charisma and clown attitude of Prigozhin, because we would need another one of that. Because I have a lot of popcorn, because when Prigozhin was taken out of the picture, I couldn't eat my popcorn during my videos anymore, because there wasn't clowning enough. So I gotta use it somewhere. But Kadyrov, he's drugged all the time. Doesn't add up. Now, my friends, the Russian losses of the past 24 hours. 550 men sent to sleep with the fishes. Well, you guys said it doesn't apply to eliminations on the ground, so a dirt nap would be a better one. That's what you guys said. So 550 sent to have a dirt nap. 8 tanks, 11 armored personnel vehicles, 33 artillery systems, 4 MLRS systems, 3 anti-aircraft warfare systems, 17 UAVs, 43 vehicles and fuel tanks. My God, what are they eating them, or what are they? How is Russian logistics even working anymore? It's all drug logistics, and here we see them being taken out like that. Damn. For special equipment. My friends, and now I will read you 5 new Patreons. See, tomorrow I'm going to Ukraine. From tomorrow to 19th of September, I'll be in Ukraine. I'll be posting everything, of course, in my Instagram, which you can check in the description below. But I don't have to worry because I have Patreons. They really keep my mind sane when I'm away at trips like that. I wanna thank you guys by reading your names. Baum, Lydia Dimikina, Lydia Dimiksina, Dennis Lokes, Randall Slimak, Kevin Thiele. Thank you. If you like my channel, you know what to do. Patreon link is in the description below. If you want to keep an eye on what I'm doing in Ukraine, who am I shooting guns with, and whose guns are they, go to my Instagram, and I'll see you there, my friends. Until my next video, and I'll upload. At the time when I'm in Ukraine, you will see videos from me. So keep an eye on the channel. Stay cool, my friends, and bye-bye.